A meeting with the British Prime Minister and her Secretary of State, and we told her very directly that she was in breach of the Good Friday Agreement, and we itemised those matters in which she was dilatory or in default in relation to that agreement. I have to say, just at a personal level, this is the first time I've been here without Martin McGuinness, and we also give her Martin McGuinness's resignation letter because that points out the difficulties where the institutions failed, but also pinpoint the way that the institutions can be put back in place on a basis which shows respect for everyone, tolerance and integrity. We also dealt with Brexit, with the need for a referendum on Irish unity, and with other matters, and Michelle O'Neill, who would be Sinn Féin's nominee for the office of First and Deputy First Minister, made the case, and I let Michelle speak to this herself, for a financial package and the responsibility of the British government in relation to any deal it might do with the Democratic Unionist Party.
Well, we made it very clear to the Prime Minister that any deal between herself and the DUP cannot undermine the Good Friday Agreement. It cannot undermine the joint nature of the office. We also made it very clear that we want to make the local institutions work, that we want to deliver an executive that works for all of our citizens, that we will no longer tolerate the denial of rights for our citizens, that we have to make the institutions work on the way in which they are intended. So the DUP, or the British government here, have a responsibility to make sure that they provide their role or continue their role as co-guarantor of the Good Friday Agreement, that they ensure that the DUP work towards delivering people their rights. I made the case very strongly today that we want the executive to work, but it has to be on a sustainable basis. Over the course of recent years, the British Tory government have stripped out public services in the north. They have taken about £1 billion out of the block grant. That has made it very difficult in terms of having sustainable government. So we made it very clear today that any package that's delivered, there has to be a strong financial package to allow us to deliver good public services when we get an executive up and running again.
Did the Prime Minister attempt to reassure you about her position in terms of neutrality and this so far?
Yes, well, she said she is committed to her role as co-guarantor. She said that in any publication of a deal, because one of the issues which we were very concerned about is that any deal is fully transparent, that people have an opportunity to look at exactly at all every part of every detail of it. So she gave us assurances in relation to that. However, the devil is always in the detail. So we'll wait till the outcome of the deal and what that means. But we're very sure on this. It cannot undermine the principles of the Good Friday Agreement and how the institutions were established.
Jerry Adams, do you get the impression that the deal will involve more spending for Northern Ireland and could be something that Sinn Féin could support?
Well, we can't support a British Tory government. That isn't our business.
But could you support the deal?
Well, we cannot support and we will oppose any deal which undermines the Good Friday Agreement. We are consistently making the case for the British government, and Michelle did it again today and has done it in the last meeting with the British Prime Minister and with James Brokenshire. We've consistently made the case that our institutions are under-resourced, don't have the capacity, are being undermined by austerity and need to be properly funded. So of course we would support any monies going to the executive, but it has to go to the executive, the administration of these matters. If the institutions are put back in place, need to be viable, open and transparent.
So do you think this deal can't work until the executive is in place?
Well, we don't know, but certainly the parties in the north and the parties who would be on the executive and others who would be in the assembly need to be consulted about all of this. A little side bargain to keep Theresa May in power, a temporary little arrangement, won't have any integrity and certainly is not as important as the integrity and the needs of the people who live in Ireland, and particularly those who live in the north of Ireland. The Prime Minister has just totally ignored the will of those people in terms of Brexit, and we have given her a solution that there should be special designated status for the people of the north. That doesn't infringe on the constitutional issue, but it does ensure that there will be no economic border on the island of Ireland. So all of those are matters that we discussed.
back up and running.
Say that again, Mark, please.
Does the prospect of direct or potentially coming with greater DUP increase the imperative that you
We don't need any encouragement. We were there to do the business with the DUP this week. They were here. We were there. I think our record in relation to all of this is absolutely impeccable in terms of trying to make these institutions work. And we need to remember these issues that are the flaw in the agreement aren't our issues. They aren't the DUP's issues. They are issues which belong to the Irish government and the British government, to all the people who live on the island of Ireland, and which are part of agreements already made.
Thank you.
Why won't Sinn Fein take your seats then in the British Parliament to reduce any majority that's created by a Tory-DUP?
Now, you know the answer to that, but your viewers mightn't. We're Irish Republicans. We have just been elected on a certain mandate. That mandate is that we won't interfere in British affairs. We won't take an oath of allegiance to the English Queen, no harm to her. So that's where we are in terms of all of this. We're United Irelanders. We want to govern ourselves. You folks here make enough mess of your own elections, make enough mess of your own governments, make enough mess of your own affairs. We want you out of our affairs, and we'll try and sort all these matters out as Irish men and women on the island of Ireland.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.